We are here at Lime Rock Park for the round 4 of the Bespoke Racing League, and this round awaits to be one of a very good ones, as we have a very close qualifying which has just ended with 1 minute remaining on the uh, clock for qualifying to end. And we have 9 drivers this race, and we have quite a lot of them qualify very close to each other. So without any further ado, let's run through the grid order with Kartik Tharani on pole with a 42.8, Sai Sanjay in P2 with a 43.1, Oshan Kotharia in P3 with a 43.2, Shahan Ali Mohsin in P4 with a 43.3, Advait Dioda with a 43.3 in P5, Saurabh Bandyopadhyay with a 43.6 in P6. Then we have, my bad, Munjul Savla in P7 with a 44.7, Chetan Surineni in P8 with a 44.7, Vishwas Vijayaraj rounding out on the grid on the last row with a 44.8 in P9. So that is the grid that we have for this race, and we are gonna be on the grid very soon, as you just see the timer ticking down to now notify us that it is now race conditions. This will be a 21 lap race around Lime Rock Park Classic layout, uh, and this is going to be an exciting one. Now we just waiting for the cars to get ready up on the grid. Once that's done, we should be underway. Just a couple of cars more. We have Chetan Surin, the only driver left to grid up now. Saurabh Bandyopadhyay seems to be blinking a little along with Shahan Ali Mohsin. I wonder if that's going to create any problems for the race. We still seem to be waiting on only Chetan Sunini. Yeah, I think he's just great. So we should be going on any moment now.
Green flag, green flag.
And it's lights out, away we go. Everybody gets a clean start by the looks of things. Kartik Tarani cleanly in P1, Oshan Kothodia just having to fight a little bit for his P3 with Shan Ali Mohsin, Advait Dioda now the one fighting with Shan Ali Mohsin for that P4, while Shahan fights for the P3 with Oshan Kothadia, as they might go side by side into the next corner. Does Shahan have the guts to do it? Not really, but Oshan does run a bit wide, which gives Shahan an opportunity, but Oshan loses the rear coming up the hill, and Shahan has been hit in any case, and sort of being the driver because of Shahan or sort of blinking has gone through this, but now coming back up to the front, we have Shahan Ali Mohsin. Oh, my bad. We have Sai Sanjay and Kartik Tarani just 4 tenths apart from each other, pretty close. Advait Dioda another 1.7 seconds apart, drift apart from Sai Sanjay. And then there's a big gap to Vishwas Vijayaraj is expected after the opening crash, him being towards the pack. And all the other drivers are in the pits. Something that they might not be looking forward to, but Lime Rock Park obviously does bring out some exciting races with very tight chances of overtaking, and offers many opportunities to each of these drivers for making a couple of mistakes. One of the very common places seems to be up the hill where we did see the incident. The car just snaps out on the rear just as you go over the hill, and it's very important to keep the car steady there. A lot of setup work needs to go into this as well, just to make sure that the rear is stable enough at the top of the hill. Sometimes all the setups are not the best setups. go by onto lap 4 now. The fastest lap of the race is a close competition at the moment. It's between Karthik Tarani and Sai Sanjay as expected, but the lap times of Karthik Tarani being a 43.597. Sorry, 551 for Karthik Tarani and 43.597 for Sai Sanjay, whereas Advait Deoda in P3 has a 43.640. But now, I think Karthik Tarani is going to be having some back marker trouble as we go on to the following laps, and that could play into the hands of Sai Sanjay. To possibly make an overtaking maneuver while these drivers try to get past the back markers. Very famous incident with the back markers was at Spa with Michael Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen. I don't think Sai Sanjay and Karthik Tarani are close enough at this point of time to replicate that, but Oshan Kothadia seems to be getting out of the way pretty cleanly for our race leader Karthik Tarani. Then what about Sai Sanjay? Sai Sanjay seems to be having to wait. Is this going to affect Sai Sanjay's race though, and having him drift? Oh, never mind. Oshan Kothadia has himself gone wide and submitted himself to the blue flags completely there. But this has affected a little bit of the lap, the margins between the drivers, or per se, the lap times have been differentiated between them now. Karthik Tarani in 43.2s now, with a fast lap of 252, and so Advait Deoda, he himself has improved quite a bit. He's gone from a 43.6 to a 43.377, and Sai Sanjay is stuck in the 43.5s. So Advait Deoda just seems to be catching him ever so slightly. He did gain a further 2 tenths in the previous lap, did Advait Deoda on Sai Sanjay, but now Karthik Tarani seems to be having Saurabh Bandyopadhyay and Munjal Savla for company. Saurabh Bandyopadhyay lets him through cleanly, and now is the question with Munjal Savla. Shit, okay. Munjal Savla did lose it coming up the up the hill, and lost his rear into Sai Sanjay. That's terrible luck for Sai Sanjay. He's never had good luck, as Chetan Srineni does again spin in the background, taking Vishwas Vajaraj out with him, who was in P3 and now is in the wall. So Sai Sanjay, the point of topic here for me, for Sai Sanjay would be that he, in a very lofty P2, I think would have been his best finish so far in this championship, including season 1, and by absolutely no fault of his own, has gone into tears. Now Karthik Tarani does lap Sai Sanjay as well, so he's a full lap down now. And Vishwas Vajaraj does split and does not use his fast repair, I guess. He does use his fast repair, but does change the tires as well. But now Saurabh Bandyopadhyay has gone ahead of Sai Sanjay with that extra pit stop with Sai Sanjay. Not necessarily extra, but with that pit stop that Sai Sanjay has to make because of something that he didn't do wrong at all. But we still have a decent number of laps left for Sai Sanjay to be able to do something out of this. He is still in the pits and now is 2 laps down. And as far as the gap between Advait Deoda and Karthik Tarani is, Advait Deoda seems to be a bit more consistent with the pace that he is running compared to Karthik Tarani. Both of them have the fastest lap times in the 43.2s. Karthik Tarani having the better of him by around 200s, and Advait Deoda has been consistently putting in a 43.2, 43.3, and that sort of laps. Whereas Kartik Tarani, his previous lap was a 43.526, and his this lap was a 43.155. So that's a pretty drastic difference between that. But if Advadyoda could hold it in the 43.2 and 42 point, oh, my bad, what am I saying? 43.2 and the 43.3 range, then I believe with the current consistency that Kartik Tirani is having, that is fluctuating quite a bit, he should be able to make up some decent ground. Considering he doesn't lose it coming up the hill as he almost did this lap. But I think Sai Sanjay in the pits has, I believe, disconnected from the session. And, well, no fault to him, would be completely raging right now. Because the back marker is the reason for him to not finish where he did. Or where he could have. Again, on the previous lap, Kartik Tarani being just a bit more consistent than what he usually is, but obviously Advadyoda showing us what he can do, and was pretty much on the same lap the previous lap, 43.268 for Kartik Tarani and 266 for Advadyoda, and this lap again very much identical with a 43.384 for Kartik Tarani and a 43.333 for Advadyoda. Right now, as the rest of the standings are concerned, Vishwas Vijayaraj in P3 seems to be having a good race so far, if you don't count the incident there, where he was almost taken out by Chetan Surineni. So this was a very big factor in the race. I feel the part where drivers were at times losing it at the top of the hill, that played a major part, because if the damage was bigger on Vishwas's car, then I don't think he would be in P3 at the moment. And if Munjal would have let him through the way Saurav did at the same time, then maybe that incident would have occurred between them as well. Kartik Tarani was the lucky driver out of all this. I say that, and he is approaching a few back markers that might put him into trouble, depending on how the back markers mood is, I feel. And Chetan Surineni does let Kartik Tarani by cleanly. But now the question is with Advadyoda, how cleanly does Advadyoda manage to get past the back marker? So far, Advadyoda has been making short but steady progress on Kartik Tarani, though it doesn't seem like it's going to be anything enough to catch up to him before the end of this race, as he almost loses it coming out of that the second last corner. Pretty much the last corner otherwise is flat, pretty much a kink in the Formula 3 cars. But now as we move on to lap 16, my bad, Advadyoda did gain another 10th on this lap. So far the fastest lap also does lie with Kartik Tarani as a 43.155, and this will be something that we will have to look at now, because that could be a deciding factor in the championship later on, because the drivers are really closely matched on in terms of where they are in the championship, and the 1 point for fastest lap could count. Now the unfortunate thing for Kartik Tarani was that he had a power outage in the round 3 race 1 even before the race started, so he couldn't take part in the race, and he did drop from P1 to P3 in the championship, and he is third by around 3 to 4 points if I remember correctly. But the thing is that now he's no longer eligible for the 5 points incident rule, which states that the driver with the least number of incident points at the end of the season will be awarded 5 championship points as a reward for clean driving. But provided they have started all races, so that there's no form of cheating that I finished second, but I should receive these points. But mate, you didn't start this race, so you can't get points, incident points in those races. So that is something that has been looked into, I feel, and apparently we can't do anything about it. It's the fault from the client, and if he was a part of the race, then he would have received points for both. But because the driver wasn't even part of the race, is why the organizers have decided so. But coming to that point, otherwise, Deoda has picked up quite a lot of. I think he has the least number of incident points at this point of time, and he is the championship leader at this point of time. But if Kartik Tharani would have not been uh, disqualified from this rule, uh, then he was having the lead on the incident points by a huge margin. By, I think, if I'm not wrong, he had only 12 incident points in how many races? That's 6 races or 5 races, be it, because he didn't take part in one of them. And Adwa Deoda right now has 30 plus. So that's the difference between Kartik Tharani and Adwa Deoda at this point in the championship standings and the incident point rule, which can make a big difference, which it did in season 1 as well, with Shahan Ali Mohsin finishing P4 and tied on points with Saurabh Bandyopadhyay after the incident point rule, and just because Shahan Ali Mohsin had better results as a whole. Like one of the races, I believe he was on the podium where Saurabh Bandyopadhyay had a bit lesser podiums, and he did finish third in the championship only because of the simple reason. But now we are on the final lap of the race, and Kartik Tharani seems to have had a slow lap last time around 43.7, but I don't think that should make a difference to him, even if this lap is a little slower than that, because the Adwa Deoda is 2.2 seconds away, and as the championship gets closer and closer, with now Kartik Tharani winning race 1 of round 4 and Adwait Yoda in P2, and coming around the last corner, the Kartik Tharani has won this, an absolutely dominant race, very very impressive from him. He has led the race from start to finish. Lap 1 to finish. Other the other pretty lucky ways to get past into P2. I believe he started P4. Shahan Ali Mohsin got tangled up with an incident, and so did Sai Sanjay, with absolutely no fault of his own. Completely, feel sad for the guy, man. He's been up there at all times in terms of qualifying, and every time something or the other has happened. But unfortunately, this time it was by absolutely no fault of his own. And Vishwas Sujaraj finishing P3, Saurabh Bandyopadhyay P4, Shan Ali Mohsin P5, Chetan Surineni P6, Oshan Kothadia P7, Munjal Savla P8, and Sai Sanjay P9. So now let's have a look at the results, starting from Kartik Tharani, obviously, after 21 laps. Finishing P1 by around 1.7 seconds to Adwait Yoda in P2. Vishwas Vijayaraj in P3 was already lapped, just showing you the pace advantage or the pace difference between the top two guys, Kartik Tharani and Adwait Yoda, over the rest, most of the field. Probably not Sai Sanjay, because he was up there for P2 at one point until he was taken out by one of the back markers on a very on lap 14, I believe. Yeah, on lap 14. And yeah, uh, P4 was Saurabh Bandyopadhyay, another one lap behind Vishwas Vijayaraj, and then Shan Ali Mohsin in P5, another lap behind Saurabh Bandyopadhyay, Chetan Surineni P6, a further 3 laps behind Shan Ali Mohsin, Oshan Kothadia, further 8 laps behind Chetan Surineni. Oh, my bad. 2 laps behind Chetan Surineni, Munjul Savla. Further 4 laps behind Oshan Kothadia. What am I saying? And Sai Sanjay another 2 laps behind Munjul Savla. Obviously, he did leave the session midway. He would have gotten points if he would have stayed and finished the race, but because he does not finish the race in this manner, he does not receive any points. But now I think it's time to look at some of the incidents that might have occurred in this session, in the race session. So I believe the start was completely clean, and lap 2 is when all the mayhem kind of started. Just looking over here, can see a 4x incident here. So I believe we can ride on board. Yeah, now we are on correct car. So the incident, I don't know with whom did occur. It's a lap 2 incident. There we go. That itself was one of the incidents before which we had missed out on at the start of the race, and that should be the other incident if we can have the correct. Yeah, there you go. That's when Saurabh Bandyopadhyay had glitched out and missed out on the action in front of him, leading to the incident. But now on board with Shan Ali Mohsin, of just moments after we have just started the race, gets a clean start from P4 up to get into P3, to fight with Oshan Kothadia to get into P3. Try to go around this outside, didn't work out, and then now going towards turn 3, making sure he stays with him, gets pretty close to him, and now going towards the uphill as well. Kothadia makes a small mistake and doesn't make the move, and yes, so Oshan loses the rear. Shahan gets collected by him, and then Saurav collects him, and then I believe there's one more incident with Suriname. Yeah, this is the start incident, wasn't it? Yeah, he just dropped it on the brakes. Yeah, and then he's just spinning around. But now let's have a look at the Sai Sanjay incident. Let's rewind a little bit here. Yeah, let's watch some of here. Going up the hill, you can see sort of letting them both by pretty cleanly. As you go up the hill, you can't see anything, and then there's Murisala, and there you go. Sai Sanjay, absolutely nothing he could do. Probably would have shouted while sitting in his cockpit, and yeah, it's a very tragic end to that race for him. But we'll be trying to I think we'll pitch this to the organizers to make sure that the blue flagged runners are blue flagging them and not cause any incidents as such. And let's see what they come up with. But anyway, that's it for round 4, race 1 at the Lime Rock Park Classic. We just finished a 21 ecstatic race. And now we'll be on at 10 p.m. Indian Standard Time or 4:30 p.m. GMT for race 2, which will be, I believe, a 13 lap race. And that should bring in some more exciting details or exciting things that could go through into the championship. So we see you soon, guys.